everyone. Today in this class we are going to discuss a new topic which is vector. Students, this topic is a part of chapter number 4, motion in 2 dimensions, and today we will discuss about this topic, that is the vector. Students, most of us know very well the vectors are the quantity which have direction. Vectors are those quantities which have direction, which requires direction with them. For example, force. Whenever someone asks you to apply force, then what you say, in which direction? Definitely you ask, in which direction I should apply the force. For example, velocity. Someone asks you that wind is blowing with this velocity. Then you ask, in which direction? Then students, today we are going to discuss the quantities which requires the direction and the mathematical process which we apply on them. Students, vectors are represented by an arrow. Whenever a vector quantity is to be represented by the diagram, then you will use an arrow. The head of arrow will give the direction of that quantity, and the length of that arrow gives the magnitude. Suppose if you want to draw a force of 20 Newton. Suppose you want to draw a force of 20 Newton in this direction. Then consider you can say 5 Newton is equal to 1 centimeter, then 20 Newton will be equal to the 4 centimeter. Then here, from given consideration, 20 Newton will be equal to a line of 4 centimeter. Draw a line of 4 centimeter, and in which direction? In east direction. This line is representing a force of 20 Newton in east direction. Students, vector quantities are symbolically represented by an arrow over that letter. Suppose if any quantity is A and that is vector, suppose the quantity A which is vector, then you will draw an arrow over it. This arrow will represent that this A is a vector quantity. Now come. Students, vectors are of so many types. We are going to discuss few important types among them. Number 1, first type of the vector is equal vector. First type is equal vector. Suppose you have a vector A represented by this arrow and vector B. You can see both the vector A and vector B are in the same direction, and the length of these two vectors is also same. Then you will say that these two vectors are the equal vectors, and you will write vector A is equal to the vector B. Means what are the equal vectors? Equal vectors are those vectors which are equal in magnitude. Equal in magnitude means equal in length and equal in direction. Students, our next type of vector is opposite vector. Opposite vector. Suppose there is a vector A and another vector is B. These two vectors are equal in length. This is vector A and this is vector B. These two vectors are equal in length, but you can see these two are opposite in direction. These two vectors are opposite in direction. Then you will say vector A is opposite to the vector B, and you will write, since these two vectors are equal in magnitude, then you will write Vector A is equal in magnitude to B, but since direction is opposite, then you will put here a minus sign. Then for opposite vectors, you will always put a minus sign. This is the second type of vector. First type is equal vector. The second type is the opposite vector. Our third type of vector is coplanar vector. What are the coplanar vectors? Students, coplanar vectors are, as the name is here, coplanar means common plane. Those vectors which are in a common plane. Suppose this board is a plane, then all vectors lying on this plane is called coplanar vector. Suppose this purse is a plane, then all those vectors who lie on the surface of the purse, these are the coplanar vectors. Then the coplanar vectors are the vectors which lie on the same plane. They lie on the common plane. Similarly, there is a fourth type of vector, and that fourth type is co-initial vector. Fourth type is co-initial vector. What are the co-initial vectors? You can see here. As the name co-initial, suppose two vectors are there, A, B and C, whose initializing point is common, whose initial point is same. These two vectors, these three vectors will be called co-initial vectors because they are initializing from the same common point. For example, if you tie 3 ropes, suppose you are tying 3 ropes from a common point and 3 persons are pulling this rope. 3 persons or 3 people are pulling this rope. Then you can see these 3 forces are initializing, or you can say are centered at a common point. Then these 3 forces are called co-initial vector. Students, the next type of vector is unit vector, which is the most important vector. We are going to discuss the vector named unit vector. What are the unit vectors? As the name unit means one. The vectors whose magnitude is unit, whose magnitude is 1, are called unit vector. Then you can see here, suppose you are writing 1 Newton in each direction. 1 Newton in each direction means this is a force of 1 Newton in each direction. We say that 1 Newton here, its magnitude is 1. Hence, this vector will be called unit vector because it has unit magnitude. Then we will say a vector which has unit magnitude is called unit vector. Then the question arises, what is the purpose of these unit vectors? Why we are using these unit vectors? And the students, unit vectors are the most important vectors which are used for represent the direction. We use these vectors to give the direction. For example, suppose you are multiplying 20 in this vector, 1 Newton in each direction. What answer you will get? You will get 21 to 20 Newton in each direction. What happens? This unit vector has provided its direction to the 20. You can see now the east is with the 20 because 1 is that number which is multiplied by any number which remain unchanged. Whenever a number is multiplied to the 1, then that number remain unchanged. But what happens? This east direction is now with the 20 Newton. Then unit vectors are used for representing the direction. Whenever you multiply any number to the unit vector, then unit vector will provide its direction to that number. Then students, there is a type of unit vector that is known as orthogonal unit vector. There is a type of unit vector that is known as orthogonal unit vector. What are the orthogonal unit vectors? Students, whenever we will study the topic vectors, we will use pen and paper, and everything will be drawn on the paper. And to represent any particular quantity on the paper or diagrammatically, the best method is the graphical method. We use x-axis, y-axis, and now third axis will be z-axis. We will use x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. For x-axis, we will use the unit vector I cap. For y-axis, we will use the unit vector j cap, and for z-axis, we will use the unit vector k cap. For x-axis I cap, for y-axis j cap, and for z-axis k cap. Suppose you are writing 20 I cap. Suppose you are writing 20 I cap. Then what answer you will get? You will say that this vector is in the direction of x-axis, because I cap is in the direction of x-axis and I represent the x-axis. Whenever a number is multiplied into the I cap, then it shows that it is in the direction of x. Suppose you are writing 30 j cap. It means now this vector is in the direction of y-axis. Suppose you are writing 20 k cap, means this vector is in the z-axis. Students, we can understand unit vectors, orthogonal unit vectors, using this cuboid. Suppose this cuboid is a room. This is the length, which is x-axis. This is the height, which is y-axis, and this is the width, which is the z-axis. Then in x direction you will use the symbol I cap, in y direction you will use the symbol j cap, and in z direction you will use the symbol k cap. X cap, I cap, j cap, and k cap. Okay. Suppose someone asking what is the magnitude of I cap, you will say I cap is representing x-axis, and with I cap there is a multiplication of 1. Because whenever a number is or any symbol is multiplied by 1, then it remains unchanged. Then here the magnitude of I cap is 1. Magnitude of j cap is here 1 is hidden, that is 1. Magnitude of k cap is the 1. Then unit vectors are the vectors which have unit magnitude, and the orthogonal unit vectors are the vectors I cap, j cap, k cap, which are used to represent x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. Now students, come to the topic addition of vectors. We are going to learn how you can add the vectors. Let us discuss addition of vectors. Students, now we are going to add the vectors. Before adding the vectors, I am taking few examples. Suppose that we are going to take an example of arrow and bow. Tir dhanush. This is the string of bow. This is the arrow. You can see here that these two strings, which are in the stress condition, are applying the force F, which are in two different directions. But you can see the effect. The effect means the resultant. Resultant means the final. Resultant means the final effect of these two forces in the direction of the arrow. The arrow moves in this direction. What happening? These two forces are acting in different directions, but resultant is in the middle. You can see the resultant is between the two vectors. Another example, when a bird is flying, you can see they apply force by their wings in the downward direction, in the given direction, and their wing lifts them up. The resultant is in up direction. What you are observing here, two forces are in a different direction, but their resultant is between them. Another example, swimming of a person. Suppose there is a swimmer who is applying force by his hand. What you can observe here, the forces applied by the swimmer in the with any angle, they are inclined with some angle, and this pushes the swimmer in the forward direction. What you can see, these two forces are at an angle and the resultant is between them. Then, students, we are going to learn how you can add the vector, how you can observe the resultant of two vectors. Resultant means effective value of the two vectors. And after that, we will calculate, we will learn how to add more than two vectors. But before that, we are going to learn how we can add two vectors. There are two methods to add the vectors. Number one is triangle law, and number two is parallelogram law. We have two vectors, two methods, triangle law and parallelogram law. Students, in triangle law and in parallelogram law, both are used for addition of two vectors. You can use two vectors using these two laws. Then first we are going to start with the triangle law. Then what is the triangle law? Let us see. Suppose you have two vectors. This is vector A and this is vector B. These two vectors are here and we want to add them. We want to find the resultant of these two vectors. Then how you can find? Draw first vector A. There should no change in any magnitude and direction. Draw first vector A. From head of A, draw vector B. Since whenever we will draw the vector B, then always try to draw using the angle. Always try to mention here the angle made by the second vector with the horizontal, because angle is the best method to give the direction. Suppose a vector is in upward direction, then you will say that it is at the 90-degree form of plane. Suppose a vector in the horizontal direction, you will say it is 0 degree. Suppose a vector is in this direction, you will say 180 degree. Then the best method to give the direction of a vector by the angle. Now suppose this vector B is at angle theta from the horizontal, then you will draw vector B at angle theta. I repeat again, draw vector A. From head of A, draw vector B. Then closing vector, the vector which closes from A to B will give the resultant. A plus B. Then triangle law says that draw vector A, from head of A draw vector B, then closing vector will give the resultant. To understand the triangle's law, we can take an example of daily life. Suppose, students, there is a rainy season and rain is falling vertically downward. This is the velocity of rain. Suppose at that time wind is blowing. Suppose at that time wind is blowing. This is the velocity of wind. Isn't what you observe when there is a rain is falling and wind is blowing? At that time you can observe that there is a slightly inclined rainfall. You can see whenever there is a wind, you can observe that rainfall is slightly at the angle. Here, when wind is start to blow and rain is falling vertically downward, then we observe that the velocity of rain is in this direction. Rain starts to incline towards the direction of wind, and we can apply here triangle law. First vector is the A, velocity of wind. Second vector is the vector B, velocity of rain, and this closing vector shows the resultant. I repeat again, resultant means effect. What is the effect? What we are observing, that is the resultant. Then what you observe? Whenever during the rainfall, when wind blows, then we observe that rain starts to fall at some angle, at inclined angle. Okay. Now, this is the triangle law of vector addition. Next method is, students, parallelogram law of vector addition. In parallelogram law, suppose you have two vectors, vector A and this is vector B. How you can add these two vectors using the parallelogram law? Parallelogram law, as a name, here we are going to draw a parallelogram. How? Draw first vector. From tail of first vector, draw second vector. And you can see here these two vectors are combining together to form a parallelogram. Then the resultant will be the common diagonal. This common diagonal will give the resultant. Then students, in parallelogram law, there are two vectors, vector A and vector B, which are the adjacent sides of a parallelogram. Then the common diagonal will give the resultant. And what is difference between the triangle law and parallelogram law? You can see here. This is the triangle law. Vector A, vector B, and this closing vector gives the resultant. This is the triangle law and this is the parallelogram law. Students,